China is now ground zero for the silver squeeze, sending prices soaring in that nation. We're going to discuss what happened and how this will affect the overall price around the world for silver as we explore. Silver prices are indeed climbing, and I think part of the contributions to that rise in price is what's going on in China. I've said many times that we should watch what China does or what's happening in China, as it is really ground zero for a lot of the industrial uses for silver. And certainly what we're seeing here, I think, is playing a role in that. One of the people I follow, and I've talked about that recently, is Oriental Ghost over on X, and he's posted some very interesting news as of late. And we're starting to see silver price separate, and we've seen it happen many times over the course of the last year or two. The Shanghai Gold Exchange and the Futures Exchange has reports that come out that he posts, and usually we see that separation. And right now, the last report we see is from the last day of the month. And the spread has actually narrowed between the world price and the Shanghai Gold Exchange price for silver. Notwithstanding, it is still a little bit of a gap there, but what's really interesting is what the raw silver price has come to. You know, there's been a lot of movement there recently, and of course, raw silver, the best way I can describe it is 50 or 15 of these in one bar. In China. These are, I guess, sort of their contract-sized bars or what have you, and there's a shortage of those and a lot of hoarding of those going on right now. And, of course, we know there's a lot of silver needed for an industry. There's over 10,000 uses for silver there. And so that's what's happening there. Now, I tell you, when we think about the price of silver, there's a number of different types of prices we can refer to. In fact, even within the spot price, depending on who's reporting it, could change a couple of cents here or there. But it's a much wider move, creating an arbitrage situation in China. Now, here in the United States, and most dealers are going to post a little bit of different silver spot price, but it's much lower than what's going on in China right now. So check out my friends at Summit Metals. They are the channel's sponsor. However, what I'm about to tell you, or any information you hear from this channel, do your own due diligence and research before you buy from Summit Metals or any other precious metal company, with the understanding of what you're doing with regards to where silver price is going to go or not go. There's more to silver than just its price, and my friends at Summit Metals know this, so check them out. And check their website out. The link will be at the description below. So this is fascinating, and I'm going to get in a couple different posts from Oriental Ghost. You may remember the post the video I did recently where it was about $52 and change for the raw silver price. Well, now it is bumped up. The last report for the September 30th is $56.79. Wow. That's a massive increase, and I think that is based off of some news that was actually in this community, I think was broken by Silver Slayer. And I'm going to get into some of what that is about, but expand upon it a little bit more. So this post that he said talks about China's investment funds, and essentially these ETF companies there have essentially stopped trading, and it has sent premiums climbing like crazy. So there was an announcement of the suspension of a new subscriptions for China's Huxia Silver Exchange Traded Fund, Link A Fund, effective September 30th, 2025, amid high demand for silver futures exposure. In other words, no more new subscriptions. A global silver spot price hit $47.40 per ounce on October the 1st, 2025, which is about a 50% increase since the beginning of the year. Now, we know that's due to shortages that we've seen now in our fifth year in solar and electronics and industry, but essentially it has skyrocketed prices and premiums mostly to $100 an ounce, and it reflects the physical delivery premium in China from 30-day backlogs. And now there's also supply constraints, backwardation, and state-level hoarding in Asia, suggesting it could amplify the ongoing silver bull run without immediate global price spikes. And remember, there's just one aspect, but China is important. What goes on, and that's one of the reasons why I follow this account, because he's tied in to it very, very closely. So it's a fascinating thing. But I think what bolsters that is what he reported as well after that post, and that the listed company Shengda is secretly hoarding 10,000 tons of silver, and it has sent its stock soaring to its daily limit. Xintong is also known to have hoarded 20,000 tons of silver. For 20 years, some of these companies have been secretly buying silver, and that is what's happening. Some of them are seeing what's happening with the shortages and trying to get as much as they can while they can in order to procure, to not disrupt some of their trade. So I think that is quite fascinating to see that. And so, it's the Shengtong, it's a state-linked buyer. And it's with this kind of accumulation, with these discrete purchases, we've seen that. I've talked about that on this channel some time ago about the many companies in China, state-run companies, importing unrefined silver, so it doesn't get reported as ounces are traded in that way, but essentially they're refining it there. And again, as I mentioned, how raw silver is really already refined, but it's in the bars are not in final form like this silver coin here. But I tell you, I think that can only mean good things in terms of price, or not necessarily good if you're a buyer of silver, but it means that likely we're going to see prices spike up even more, because this is a squeeze of a different kind. Now, I don't know what version of squeeze we're on right now. I tell you what, some people say this is a silver squeeze 3.0, but there's been a lot of dot releases in between, and but likely this could lead to a wider situation in terms of holdings of silver, in terms of the pressure on the market. And that is what has led to that raw silver price going up too, because of supply constraints. And China is the place that does a lot of manufacturing there. So when you have about 26,000 tons and annual mine output, support theories of strategic stockpiling that could trigger price spikes by draining Western exchanges like the COMEX. And we've talked about that before, how some of these trading with these prices, arbitrage opportunities, is going to lead it to move, in a sense, to what they could open up in Singapore, Hong Kong, and other places in the East, essentially rendering the COMEX and LBMA worthless in due time. I think that's kind of their goal, if they can do it. Is taking power away from them, at least to some extent. At least it is right now, especially if there's a depletion that we're starting to see even more and more over there. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but nonetheless, that's what's happening here. And the high-tech supply chain, and it's easily posted as well. There's no silver preparation. Even if the price increases, it's got to be bought. Otherwise, we'll all come to a halt. Those who expect the silver price to fall back to $35, keep your eyes open to reality. So he says that it likely is not going to come back down to 35. And I've been saying that likely, and when this is all over, and who knows when that's going to be, unless they can just magically make silver appear, likely we're going to see some sort of consolidation, pullback, and normalcy in the price, but probably won't be $35 anytime soon, if ever again. Who knows? I think my prediction for that is, if we do see it, I don't see it falling below 30 at the very worst case scenario. Reading this, and of course, in other factors as well too, and understanding the context of this, and how much of it is really can be backed up and proved. Well, if that's the case, then China being a big mining country and having different ways to source in silver, and a lot of silver is being produced. If they can increase silver production somewhat, then maybe we can see it fall back to $35, $36 an ounce. So I don't know that I necessarily buy that analysis, but we'll see how it plays out. But nonetheless, it is interesting, fascinating news here. What's going on in China. I think the big number here is not the $100 premium, but the raw silver price. I think that's really something that gives us more of an inclination that we're going to see higher prices from now. And that's almost a $10 difference from where we're at right now in the silver spot price here in the Western world. And again, it's fascinating. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know how much effect this is going to have overall. Already there's so many different drivers that are bullish for silver as we continue to move. This cannot hurt it, that's for sure. I think we're going to continue to see the price move up. So we'll see how it plays out. So again, Silver Slayer covered this in his video data. I'm a little bit late on it. There's so much going on in the world of precious metals. It's hard to keep up with all the latest news and happenings. But let me know what your thoughts are about this news, about silver in China. And where do you think do you think it'll normalize anytime soon, or do you think it will get worse? It seems like it could get worse, and if it does, I'm going to report on it here. But again, I don't think it's $100 silver price, but I think it's related to, at least what they're saying here, it has to do with the premiums and delivery premium in China. And backlogs are increasing now a month long rather than a couple of weeks. That's big news. So let me know what your thoughts are. I like to bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals and analysis. So if you enjoy what I do here, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel. And I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.